Did you know that you can go on a diet, achieve that number on the scale, and still not feel content? Still not be at peace with your body? It's true, it happens all the time. So, if you're a Christian woman and you want to feel better about the way you look, I totally understand. Living in this culture, it makes us more consumed with our appearance than probably any other time in history. It's an unending stressor for many. But I want you to be warned about something. While you're making all sorts of efforts to change the way you look, to finally be at peace with your body, and that is that an external change or alteration of your body, it won't give you what you're really looking for. I totally understand the feeling and where you're coming from. That was basically my home base for decades, even for years after becoming a Christian. Perhaps the way you feel about your body shape and size is consuming you. It's top of mind. You think about it a lot. Maybe it truly bothers you all the time, especially in social situations or when you're getting ready to go into a social situation. So, of course, you would think that if you can just fix your body shape, you can fix your body size, you'll feel so much better. You'll finally be happy and free to start living your life. You'll feel comfortable around others. You'll be able to focus on other things, right? Well, the reason that you can't seem to ever get to that goal line, it's because it's kind of a mirage. It's kind of a misdirection. Let me explain. Have you ever lost some weight, maybe even a lot of weight, been really excited about that, but soon afterwards, the excitement fades, the bloom is off the rose. You start to think, well, okay, I lost weight, but things are still pretty saggy, and I may have lost some weight, but I'm really just the same exact shape, just a smaller size, and I was hoping for a different shape. Or you go to the store and you find that the number on the label of the pants, it's not really the size that you thought you'd be at or you were hoping for. Or even something like, well, now that my face is thinner, my nose looks bigger. Whatever that could be. It could even be something unrelated to the weight loss itself. Like, even after all this effort, people still aren't treating me differently. They're not looking at me differently. I'm not getting respect or notice or admiration, praise from people on all the weight I've lost. My life hasn't really changed all that much. Maybe I still feel alone and uncared for. And that's to say nothing of potentially undernourishing your body, which can come with crash diets and which feeds into all kinds of lasting problems. And when this happens, it shows us that it wasn't really our weight that was causing our discontent in the first place. Can you see that? Oh, sure, we may have zeroed in on weight loss as important for us, maybe even a need, and sometimes it actually can be, but the discontent that didn't get remedied with that weight loss, it still fills your heart and your mind. It still wasn't enough. You're still comparing yourself with someone else or many others, and you feel like you fall short. You still need to do the next thing. So it really was something deeper than just weight loss, wasn't it? Perhaps this something was hidden that we couldn't see lurking there, that really couldn't be soothed or placated by something as external as weight loss. So, what is at the root of your desire to lose weight, to look different, to change the shape of your body? Well, there could be many, many different reasons, frankly, but I want to discuss a really common reason today, a very common cause of not being able to achieve the image or appearance that finally brings you to peace. And that is wanting the approval of others. This is really a deep heart issue, and it's really a common issue. And you might at first think this doesn't describe you, it doesn't apply to you, but stick with me and see if any of this resonates with you. Don't run from this. Dig in, dig. Why? Because you want to be free of this gnawing problem. And you never will be free of it until you first identify the root of it and handle it biblically. So let me discuss what wanting approval of others is, and then I hope you will think about this. I hope you will pray about this. Ask God to reveal your heart and shine light on that root issue. I hope you'll begin investigating whether the approval of others is lurking there in your heart, keeping you grasping for a goal you never can quite reach. and keeping you stuck in this bondage of discontent. And it is a bondage. And the type of discontent you might feel in the instance of weight shame or body shame, it causes a whole lot of people to fall into this diet trap, into the weight cycle, into a preoccupation with how they look. So let's talk about what I mean by approval of others. Now, I know it can be really offensive to be challenged with looking at whether or not you really want others' approval. I think even my flesh now, even though I know better, still wants to balk against that and say, I don't care what people think, but my life and my history prove otherwise. It can look like wanting to be well thought of, wanting the respect of others, not wanting to rank lower than others in people's opinions. And this can become pretty important to you. Perhaps it's even taking up more of your thoughts than it should. Let's talk about why chasing the approval of others is actually a very fruitless endeavor. Who are we trying to get the approval of? It can be this nameless bunch of people that we don't even really know. It's almost like I want society's approval. I want people to approve of the way I look, but we don't even know them often. We don't even have specific people we're thinking about. So what does that mean? It means that a lot of focus, a lot of effort, a lot of time are spent trying to please people we don't know, who don't know us and probably will never think of us. Or conversely, there might be specific people in mind that we want approval from. And right now might be the first time you've actually really thought about it that way. Maybe some names are popping up or images of people are popping up in your head and you're kind of going, oh, wow, do I really care that much what that person thinks or those people think? So that's a really good enlightened moment for you, a really good discovery. Now, in this case, if you have to alter who you are to please another person, then that real you, it's never really going to please that person and therefore never will. In other words, that endeavor's fruitless because if the real you doesn't please them, an altered or false you can't please them either. And if they're comparing themselves with you and that's your fear, we talked about us ranking ourselves with other people. We're aware other people do that with us so that they feel better. Well, if you're afraid of other people doing that and that's what's driving you, just remember this is their heart issue before the Lord. They have to deal with that and you're not going to be able to change that. You can only deal with your own heart. They have to deal with theirs. Also, I always like to remind people of this. If you have to change who you are to please another person, you have to be aware of what they want, first of all, which really is not possible. We don't actually know what other people think. In fact, people don't often even know what they think, but certainly we don't know what other people want in us all the time. But even if we do, even if we can discern that somebody else wants me to look this way, act this way, well, we would really have to become a chameleon, right? We would have to alter what we're doing, saying, how we're looking at every moment, every day, at all times to meet that person's desire or expectation. That really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? That's ridiculous. And again, not really possible. In addition, think about this. The opinions and the images of beauty, they're always changing. They're always changing. That means for us to always maintain the current image of beauty, we have to constantly be changing as well. This is a race that can never stop. There is no goal line. And finally, this sounds a little callous, but I actually think it's helpful to be aware of this. No one cares. No one cares really what you look like because unfortunately, they're all too busy thinking about your opinion of the way they look. Everyone's really just thinking about themselves. I'm not saying that's good, but it is a reality. So you can actually find some comfort in the fact that nobody really truly cares what you look like. So overall, what is the real problem with the approval of others? We heard what it is, we heard why it's fruitless, but what is the real deeper problem with finding and seeking the approval of others? Well, seeking the approval of others, it might be a sign that you have overlooked, misunderstood, or even taken for granted the acceptance of God you have received through faith in Jesus Christ. In fact, you might be taking this so lightly, and I know this is really tough to look at and think about, but you might be looking for a substitute approval, substitute acceptance. Sometimes, let's be honest, we put more weight on the temporal things that we can see over the eternal things which uphold us. We can really seek to please people more than God. It's true, it's hard to hear, but it is so important to dig down to these roots or we can't be freed from them in Christ. On top of this, sisters, we got to be real about something else. All Christians have to be prepared for and accept disapproval of the world, right? We cannot love the world and they will not love us because they did not love Christ. Just getting used to that mindset of not always needing the approval and acceptance of others, it will get us in the right mindset for sharing the gospel and being persecuted for it. That is the calling of a Christian, not to be loved by the world, but to love them enough to share truth. Okay, so what do we do with all this information? Well, check out the next video and we will look at how we deal with needing that approval of others and how to break free from that. If you found this podcast valuable, please like it, share it, subscribe so you're always informed when the next video comes out. I love your comments. I love your questions. Go ahead and pop those in and I look forward to reading them and I'll see you next time.